Everybody, welcome to Storm Talk. Brian Good here on this Thursday. A lot to talk about, and you really get a good sense here about now that we have access to the GOES 16 satellite data. I mean, look how much movement in the atmosphere there is. The models are not going to do great on this setup today. We're going to take this hour by hour. All right, let me show you some of the features, though. First off, you see the thunderstorms off to the north of us. The flow is still mainly west-east, but notice some of the cirrus clouds, they're blowing off. They blow off to the south. And then underneath that, we're starting to get some reaction to that. We call this like the differential heating that comes from some of these outflow boundaries to the south there. And that may spark some thunderstorms very soon into Jackson County, into portions of Scott County in the next few moments. It wouldn't surprise me. Further to the southwest, we're seeing a similar deal where we're getting the cumulus clouds popping up across Missouri and Illinois. That's starting to develop, likely to thunderstorms. And then in Kentucky, fairly quiet. This is mainly orographic. The wind flow going up the mountains here, lifting the clouds up for thunderstorms there. But watching this feature here, seeing signs, this may try to feed on the deep moisture and also blow up some thunderstorms right over the heart of Kentucky. So our storm chance today, we've been battling it out about 40 to 60% on where to place it at. And we'll keep adjusting as the day wears on. But it's a messy setup, so many different boundaries. Just keep in mind, it's going to be a hot day. Dangerously hot in some cases. I mean, 94 is the forecast high. The heat index, 100 to 103. That's the hottest, by the way, we've been all season is 94. We could beat that, but if we get a lot of these debris clouds or even some thunderstorms moving in over the airport especially, we won't get that hot. So a lot of ifs on that. But it's a very messy setup with so many different boundaries moving through, but we have so much moisture in the air. That is my concern when it comes to lightning and flash flooding. I'm not overly as concerned about the damage you win, severe potential side of things on that end. I think this is the lightning and the heavy rain is what really needs to be watched here today for those of you who have plans to be out and about. All right, having said that, Storm Prediction Center keeps the slight risk mainly north of Salem for this afternoon, marginal risk for a good chunk of the area. Otherwise, this is going to be updated, by the way, within the next 45 minutes. Tomorrow, it shifts to the south. But the cold front is taking its sweet time getting down here, so they may have to move that marginal up another row of counties tomorrow, but we'll worry about that later. Let me show you some of the models. Here's the high-res model on the HER model. And it indicates the thunderstorms now popping up, as you saw there, north of us. Let me advance it to a little bit later on for the afternoon period. If we get there, we go. And you can see where it's picking up on the two moisture areas today. Again, one, where these boundaries are kind of playing with each other across Indiana and Illinois, but also that little surge there moves out the land between the lakes, LBL area, and trying to enhance some thunderstorms in central Kentucky. It's pretty much on its own on this idea, but based on the analysis that we're getting from the Storm Prediction Center, data that's coming in, especially with the amount of moisture in the air, I wouldn't rule this out. Heads up on that. That will fade, and then the focus will then become what happens overnight across Illinois and Indiana. And I say that with stress for a reason, and I'll explain in a moment. RPM model doesn't even see any of this stuff going on in central Kentucky and doesn't see very much going on in Indiana until later, then tries to bring in thunderstorm action. But also look at the overnight. We're at 10 o'clock tonight. Look what happens with these thunderstorm clusters rolling in very close to I-64 during the overnight. They fade, and then we get to noon tomorrow and we're okay, but once the sun gets high enough, boom, there they go. Thunderstorms pop up right ahead and along in the front for Friday. So, having said that, here is my one issue I'm going to bring up. Not only do we have to watch out for thunderstorms in central Kentucky that could develop, we'll watch Indiana, but overnight tonight, the wind fields right along the Ohio River are decent enough and parallel enough with the wind flow that I am a little concerned that we're going to get some thunderstorms that are going to train themselves in a very much a west-east pattern overnight tonight that could lead to a flash flooding issue for some of us very close to the Ohio River. I'm not sure if it's going to be on the Indiana side or perhaps on the Kentucky side. I don't know that answer, but that is a feature we'll have to monitor just carefully. It's not something to be overly alarmed about, but it is something that is trending that does catch my eye that needs to be watched. And for a good reason. These are the PWATs, the precipitable water in the atmosphere, how much humidity there is. These kind of values are near record levels, really. I mean, this is an impressive amount of moisture in the air as we head into the overnight. And all of that can just be poured out quickly. Several inches of rain can fall if you get hit by more than one of these. So just be alert and pay careful attention to the forecast today with Kevin and Ryan at 5 all the way through 11 o'clock tonight. Tomorrow, we don't have as much wind field out there, so the organized activity is not as impressive, but we will have instability in the area, so it's going to be more your heavy downpours and the pulse type thunderstorms that can produce some damaging winds in a few cases. These are not setups, by the way, for tornado activity. You can get a brief spin up, that is possible in any case like this, but the shear is more of the type of produced straight line winds, and certainly more of a very heavy rain, lightning kind of scenario. And again, they don't issue warnings for lightning, but it can cause more problems than anything. You know, of course, it's trees and knocks power out, and it can be dangerous because it can hit you. So if you hear thunder and the kids are going to be out in the pool today playing, get them inside. Okay. Now, as the front moves out here Friday night, this is the amount of moisture in the air for Saturday. And notice by Saturday afternoon, brown is good here. That's dry air. Here's Louisville. We're going to dry things down, and it's going to be a very warm day, near 90, but it'll feel at least better. Sunday, another little piece drops in. So we have some moisture added to the air Sunday. At this point, I think it'll just go for a partly cloudy sky. I don't know if it's going to be enough to produce any rainfall. We'll watch that. But I think we'll have more of a blue sky to enjoy Saturday over Sunday if it trends that way. Now, here are the ensembles. I got to go through this real quick here, but GFS, Canadian, or Euro and Canadian. Pink is the heat. See that little cool wave, that little lobe that drops in Sunday. All the models show it, so the ensembles. Now, the GFS, what it wants to do next week is it wants to hold on to that little lobe that drops in Sunday and Monday and keep it close enough to the mid-Atlantic to where it keeps the core of the pink here, the heat wave, at bay just for a couple more days. However, the Euro, and really when you look at the ensembles, the Euro and the Canadian, they're not buying it. They're bringing the heat full on. And then by the time we get toward the end of the week, all of them begin to break it down as we get back to a very familiar pattern where the jet stream begins to take a dive and we get back to northwest flow, which is concerning me a bit with that northwest flow because when you get into that kind of a setup aloft, you can get into a lot of these complexes of thunderstorms, MCSs, deratios. I hate using that term, but I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I'm just saying you get into that zone where you get that real intense heat right here, and you get that northwest flow coming down. That could make things a little wild. Not this weekend, but the following weekend and beyond. We'll see how it plays out. All right, so stay tuned to the forecast today, guys. It's going to be changing often, and keep that way through News Weather at Pandy as well. Take care.